Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com, and what we're doing today is we're doing our monthly things to do in April. Well, obviously it's not my monthly things to do in April every month because it changes each month. April's a great month. April is my favourite month. It really is when you can start to sow the majority of your things that are going to grow through the summer. It's the time that the things that you've planted in the autumn will start to kick back into growth after the really cold spell. And it's my birthday at the end of the month, which is always good. When you get to my age, it's good to have birthdays because it's good to know you're still alive. Anyway, if you're not already subscribed to us at Learn How to Garden, there is a link below this film that'll take you over to my website. If you input your email, it means you can be informed every time we put up a new film, and you also get our newsletter. And the newsletter this month is really quite interesting because it features these guys. There's an interview with one of the world's foremost growers and experts on narcissi, and it's really worth listening to. I mean, this man recommends sort of his favourite scented varieties and the ones that do best in the garden, and he's got more experience than I would ever have about this, this real herald of spring. The list of what you can plant this month really is sort of fairly endless. A lot of the hardy things that you can just put straight out into the garden, your parsnips, your carrots, spinach, leaf beet, all of those can go in now, although if you're going to put them in, I would put fleece over them. And there is a film on the website about why fleece is important. It's the cheapest thing you can put on your plants to keep them sort of protected from the worst of the weather. It's also the time of year where if you're going to have protection for the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, you can start off things like your courgettes, some of your early French beans if you put them in root trainers. But don't start things too early unless you do have that protection of a cloche or a polytunnel or a greenhouse to grow them in. And whatever you do, just because it's Easter, don't get carried away and go to your local garden centre or your local, DIY place and buy plants. Please don't get plants. They will have been grown very, very soft. They won't have been hardened off. You've got no idea how they've been cared for. I mean, I've seen them at my local I don't want to say the name because they'll sue me, my local DIY place where they're on great big racks. They go into the heat at night, they come out into the cold during the day, they're just watered willy-nilly. I mean, anything that had that start really isn't going to do best for you. So stick to your specialists, stick to people who really do care about what they're doing. You know that I recommend Simpson seeds. They're fantastic. They'll supply plants of tomatoes, chilies, things like that, just at the right time for growing them. If you want to grow a specific very, very hot chili, there's a company called Sea Spring Seeds, and they develop the Dorset Naga, and they'll sell you a single plant, and trust me, you only want one of them. We had some fairly recently in one of our linguinis, and I am not kidding, I've never come across anything quite like it. It was fantastically tasty, but heat that you couldn't believe. And also seeds of Italy are great, and the reason for that is 74% of Italy is alpine. They're used to the cold. I mean, they supply one lettuce that will take -40 in an unheated greenhouse. It comes from the Alps. These are the people that you should be sort of getting your stuff off, because they're the ones whose products will work. The other thing are these beauties. These are potatoes, obviously getting ready to go in. I grow my potatoes in a no-dig method, but what we're doing here is chitting. Someone asked me what chitting is, and it's just getting these little sprouts to come out. And potatoes can go in sort of the middle of this month. This isn't a potato, this is an ocker. We've talked about them before, and as you can see, these chit as well. These are the sprouts that grow, and you may just be able to see this end, the start of the roots. Make sure they go in the right way. It does make a bit of a difference. While we're talking about potatoes, I've always bought mine from one particular supplier. I certainly won't be doing it again. And I would say that if anybody uses Pennard plants, please use PayPal, because their system isn't the easiest to use, and we've got duplicate orders and we've been charged for them and we've got no recourse. So my advice would be probably find someone else, because if you don't and they get it wrong, you're lumped with it, guys. But if you use PayPal, you can put it into dispute and then you'll probably get a better a better sort of finish to the whole thing than I did, but that's just me ranting a bit. The one thing you will have noticed on here, as well as my sort of classic packets I used, is a packet of Homegrown Revolution. I'm really quite keen on this, the thought of this, and it's a huge thing at the minute, this homegrown revolution. James Wong, it's going to be all over the TV, it's going to be all over every gardening show this year. And I just want to get a book a second, and I want to show you something and talk you through this homegrown revolution. This is James' book. I've got a review separately of this book that will be going up in the next week onto the website. And in it, he encourages people to grow unusual things, things that are different, and that is fantastic. We all should try things that are different, things you've never tried before, unexpected things. And I'd hate you to think it's the only book out there, because this is one by Mark Diacono. It's a couple of years older. Fantastic. Probably I prefer it in some ways to James's book. Again, it's encouraging people to grow things that are different, unusual, new. Now, that's where I start to think new isn't so good. Vegetables and their cultivation. This little book is 93 years old. And what I love about this book is it tells me how to do certain things. It talks about how they cultivated things 93 years ago. And what I want to do is just read to you some of the things it suggests that we grow. Haricot beans, butter beans, sugar peas, lentils, musk melons, new potatoes in autumn and winter, Chinese cabbage, oca, I'm not sure how they don't say oca, oca, tuberose rooted chervil, which I think is just fantastic, asparagus peas, dandelion, Indian corn, Jerusalem artichokes, Chinese artichokes, New Zealand spinach, quinoa, or quinoa as some people say. Probably the Americans, I suspect it looks like quinoa to me. There is no such thing, rarely, in gardening as revolution. Evolution is how we work. We evolve our own methods, we evolve growing things. It's not a homegrown revolution, James. It's a homegrown evolution. All these things have been grown for years in this country. I think it's great that they're easy to buy now. They're much easier to get hold of. And I would really encourage you to grow something different. Don't get me wrong, both these books, Mark Diacono's book and James Wong's books, are fantastic, fantastic books to get, inspirational books to read, but they're not revolutionary books. This little book probably felt revolutionary. You know, when this little book came out, if you wanted to go and watch us play Test cricket in Australia, it wasn't 21 hours on a plane, guys, it was 6 weeks on a boat. That would have felt like a revolution, wouldn't it? Anyway, I digress. That's just my slight little rant. Most of your herbs, if you haven't got them planted, you can plant those from seed, or you can buy small pots of them, and get yourself a good weeder. And by that I mean get yourself a good hoe. All plants, as we know, need their leaves to grow. Their leaves are the energy producing factories. And whether your weed has got 2 leaves and it's this high, or 10 leaves and it's this high, it's the same weed underground. Weed while they're small. Weed now, get rid of the weeds out of your veg patch while they're little, and you won't get big weeds. If you leave them until they're big, their root systems are more established, they're stronger, and they're harder to get rid of. I know it seems, you know, early to be thinking about weeding, but the nettles are already starting to grow, and they're one of the first signs that spring really, really is on the way. I hope you've enjoyed that things to do in April. By the time I speak to you again, spring will be well underway, and we'll be thinking about all those wonderful sort of things that we're going to crop in the summer.